Jim Duke Radio Network.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
Well, join me. I'm going to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
All right. My website is jimdukeperspective.com. You can check us out on any of your favorite apps and listen to the show there. We're a rational voice in a world of conspiracy. We try to break down the speculations and theories to provide verifiable facts. Darren, how's it going?
Jim, I'm doing really well, thanks. Just a hectic day here.
Getting through it, huh?
Made it through it, though. Yeah. By the grace of God. Yeah.
Well, so I thought we'd have to talk about the Maui fires eventually and the suspicions, but let's first just mention, I mean, by now everybody knows that fires broke out in August 8th across Maui Island. Did it devour most of the island? Did it take out a lot of the businesses or a lot of the...
Well, good question. It did take out strategic locations. Like, it didn't take out any wildlife, any trees, hardly. Just
Really?
Buildings and houses.
How did it do that? I thought it started in the forest.
Well, that started, but it just moved over and migrated to, like I said, certain areas that are, that have the elite's eye on for expanding their property, and that's another.
So the forests and stuff didn't go up?
A little bit, yeah. There's some, but majority of it, like I said, were houses, businesses, and things of that nature, and it just was kind of very reminiscent of the Paradise Fire in California about 5 years ago. The behavior of the fire.
Well, that was strange because it would hit certain trees and such, but leave or house cars and stuff would show that they were on fire, but certain trees and stuff were left not touched. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was some obviously some natural wildlife that was affected by it, trees and things. But from a macro perspective, it was definitely a very peculiar blaze that just defied the laws of, I don't know what the word would be, fire dynamics. Yeah. Something. Do we have anybody questioning about besides the theorists, do we have any of the officials mentioning that it did not act habitual to a regular fire? Well, they had the officials, presenting their side to the news, and they just pointed out that they're giving a bunch of nonsense. One guy asked I think it was one of the officials there, how many children have been missing since the fire began, and the guy could not give a definitive answer. And that's one of the big problems there is the missing people. It turns out that from alternative news that there is far more people missing or dead than the news is actually presenting. In fact, the missing children is something you don't hear about either. That's another issue that's the most important thing. They have the number of children that should be, accounted for, and it turns out that there's about 1/4 of the children are actually missing. They tallied 3,357 students, and then that would be, just moved to another facility for their schooling. But it turns out that only 400 of them actually enrolled in new schools, and then 200 online. So that's about 600 of the 3,357 students. So we have a huge number of children that are actually missing. And then when we figure the timing of all this, they said the children they had early school dismissal from the hurricane. What was the name of that one? Hurricane Dora there. So they brought the kids out of school. So they were home at the time, but the parents were out working. And this I heard about that. Yeah. Right. So this left a perfect opportunity for whoever, I know probably who they are, to round up the children and take them away.
Something
Now,
you're
what
never
are the
going to hear on
parents saying
mainstream
about?
news.
Are they trying to find their children? Are they?
The parents are probably dead right now.
Oh,
Yeah. It's in fact they had the traffic jams from people trying to leave, and the police would avert them away from the areas where they could have went to have saved them. But it turns out that the police had orders by the government officials to put barricades up and block them. And it turns out that many they ended up dying. The only ones that survived were the ones who defied the police orders, and they ended up driving over sidewalks and of that nature. And then they escaped, and they were able to survive. I heard testimonies, credible testimonies of people that were witnesses to the events. So this is our government, and this is the news for you people. They're a bunch of murderers and liars.
yeah. There definitely was a lot of neglect. I definitely want to talk about that. They're blaming it on dry conditions that were blamed, of course, on climate change, and they said that the downed power lines may have caused sparks that initiated it.
That's what they say, but do you think they're going to tell you the truth?
Yeah, but even the Hawaiian energy company has doubted that. They denied that. They said that they weren't the one thing that energized the fires. And I don't know if they're saying what they suspect is, but they said it definitely wasn't their lines that sparked the fire, because now they're under charge of being, looking for blame to be at fault. And of course they got to defend themselves, but they said that they did not think that would have been a cause, and they're denying it. You mentioned about the fires going off to the populated area. What this one article says that it was a classic wildfire that it started with vegetation, but moved into urban areas and started burning structures in the urban areas.
Correct.
So,
and there was several testimonies of people saying that the fire moved 1 mile in, I believe it was 1 second. It was just like a bolt that came down. And another thing is that there's many photographs of blue objects that were not, burnt in the blaze. And it turns out that they did a test on lasers and colors, and they had fabrics of various colors laid out, and the laser went right across. Everyone got burnt except for one color, blue.
Wow.
And it turns out that there was umbrellas in the midst of this burnt area that were unscathed at all. A garbage can, cars. I would like to show the photos, but since most people don't have, like I said, the ability to check out Skype, I won't.
Well, we can leave them on the show notes.
Right. Yep. I can show you the laser experiment and the photos of all the blue objects in the midst of all these burnt shirts. People wearing shirts were on the ground, not scathed. So this is DEW, direct energy weapons. So it's that simple. It's unescapable conclusion.
That's what they're suspecting.
One more thing: Oprah Winfrey's house, her top is blue, and her house was untouched. Yep. I mean, you can call it a coincidence. Some people paint their house colors different. The roofs. I've seen red roofs, but what are the probability of her house being blue and then not being affected by the dew weapons? It's highly improbable, but it's possible. But anybody can check that out. Check out Oprah Winfrey's house. What color is the roof? You'll see that it's blue. Yep.
Were there any other blue houses?
Good question. I think it's Tom Hanks and Jeff Bezos. I know.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos has a place out there. Mick Fleetwood has a place out there. A lot of the elite have a place out there. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Oprah, she has an expensive property with a massive subterranean facility with concrete, and she's just expanding her. Oh, in fact, the indigenous tribes in Hawaii, they're totally vehemently against any land grabbing. In fact, one lady, I watched her on BitChute, she was really going off on them. It was great to hear, and that's what they're basically trying to do. They're just trying to get these people out of their land. I shouldn't say their land. Yeah, their land, the indigenous Hawaiians. They're trying to get them out of their land and do the land grabbing. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, before we go to the theories, let's talk about the actions of the officials and how they handled it, because this leads to suspicions of just the way they handle it. You said that they blocked the children, they blocked, certain things, or who they block?
Well, they blocked the cars that were trying to escape.
The cars,
there was
all right.
different routes, and the police were informed by the government to prevent people from escaping. But those who, like I said, drove over the sidewalks or people's property or whatever, those are the only ones that actually survived. Everyone else got incinerated in their car, except for the blue cars.
Oh, so that,
I mean, this is just...
Is that
this
a fact, I wonder?
It's actual fact. You can actually... I have several photographs that are not CGIs. It was actually on the news. You can see like videos of things that are blue, so it's impossible to CGI a video. It would be extremely difficult. And these are live videos from live alternative news. Mm-hmm.
All right, Maui theory about blue objects being saved from wildfires is baseless. This is from Newsweek. I'm not saying that this is authentic. I'm just saying that that's one article. So they are addressing the claim. They said the blazes scattered, brush fire, rapid spread fueled the lack of humidity. Of course, they give a reason. They addressed the Oprah Winfrey thing. The theory has also bases some of its conclusion on the notion that a blue car and some blue umbrellas did not appear to suffer the same damage as vehicles in the vicinity. Let's see. It says that we find out Oprah's mansion has a blue roof. What are the odds? Oprah Winfrey's is also not where the fires broke out on the island. That's what they claimed. She was actually, it was misleading that her place was not near where that. Photos shown property and objects in other colors were also not damaged by the fire. So there was other colors. A red roof house survived destruction as well. So they're saying that these theories are basically isolating certain claims, but not taking into account the variables of other things that are around it that they do show where red buildings and such were not harmed. But I don't have the facts. I'm only going by the articles here.
And you got to know, yes.
That's why I always be careful about. I know. Be careful about where the source comes from.
Absolutely.
But also be careful about the facts. So if we go there, we'd be able to know for a fact what's going on. We don't know if that's covered up, or if we don't know if there are greenhouses or red houses that have not been touched, because we aren't there either. So we have to be careful of those pictures that are excluding those other things.
Right.
But we do know this. We do know that the officials have been claimed of being negligent in the actions of this. Failure to sound the alarm was one thing, and they said, why didn't they sound the alarm? They claimed that if they sounded the alarm, it would have brought people towards the fire. But if people...
They thought it might mean a tsunami or something.
Yeah, because there's tsunami things, and it would have pulled them away from the water into the places of harm.
But you think they would have seen the fire, though?
And you would have thought that they'd have some kind of announcement that we're warning you to get away, that this alarm is to get away from, your home, not to go towards your home. I mean...
Right.
And then the power was shut down, so they had lockdowns of power. Water was shut down. People said they were attempting to put out small fires that would have led to bigger fires on their property, and their water was shut down. And they said, that's because the utility company was damaged and shut down. So they claim the water, the fire control there couldn't put out the fires because they didn't have enough water. Now, am I mistaken? But isn't Maui surrounded by water?
Yep, that's what I'm saying. That
I mean,
other
don't they
thing
just
about
need a pump to pump it out?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's like so much water. It's like
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was too far inland, but from what I understand, when they need water, they go to the water sources. But if the water sources are shut down, I think they have like a whole ocean of it.
ocean,
Or
all
someplace
in all
close
sides. Yeah,
on all
yeah,
sides, right?
yeah, all sides. That's why that other article about the house with the red roofs. I believe that was a George Soros sponsored article, in my estimation.
Uh-huh.
You know, but I like how you're just bringing all sides. Just to present all sides. But that source I don't trust one bit, because what I've seen about everything was charred except for blue objects, and then the laser destroying every color except blue. No, that tells me that's a lie. That other article.
All right. Yeah, there are suspicions. First of all, the way that it's been handled, and then there's other. So the suspicions is that the one that most people go on is that the directed energy weapon hit it, the DEWs. And they said, especially connected after seeing that there's a new, Mountain Dew, Maui burst Mountain Dew.
Wow.
They think but that came out in 2020.
Yeah, but still, predictive
2021.
Yeah, I've seen decades ahead.
I know.
Yep.
Specifically Maui.
Wow.
Well, what about
There's
the
another
book?
one called Rolling Blackouts too. Mountain Dew rolling blackouts. So expect those people in the future.
Yeah. Okay. That's next. And then there was this book, Fire and Fury, published on August 10th about the fires that weren't even over yet. It came out, and they said the book came out before the fires. It's about the fires. August 10th, it was published. Now, they say books don't come out that fast. You got to remember, though, books are now on demand. They can be published overnight. Because I can publish a book tonight. I can't get it written fast enough, and I'm not great at promoting, so it's hard for me to do it. But people that have access can do it. So the Fire and Fury book, it's written by a supposed guy that they really can't trace. They don't know if the guy exists. They can't find him. So when they look up the credit, it's by Miles Stones, Dr. Miles Stones.
Miles Stone.
Now what they're claiming is that since that name doesn't exist, it was a predictive programming by the elite. But what they're finding is this book, which is only 45 pages long, so it could have easily been done overnight, was written by an AI program, as there's several now. And you know my take, Darren. I'm suspicious like everybody else, but I'm also rational. So like DEWs, there are certain conditions that require them to hit specific. But we also have to ask what the significance is. Somebody brought up a point. DEWs are $1 million weapons. Millions of dollars to launch, millions of dollars to do. Do you think it's worth millions of dollars to send a directed energy weapon to Maui when you can use a 75-cent lighter?
Well, we're paying for it, so I don't think it matters to them.
Yeah, but I mean, what would the purpose of it be besides leveling certain places so they can confiscate it? See, this is the other thing that they're saying is that the elite are trying to buy up Maui, and they're offering payouts to people that have lands that they want to get off the island. They want to get off it because they want to keep it for themselves. But, if they're going to do this, you got to remember some conspiracy theorists go for the real simplest point of contact without thinking it through. And they don't think about how much it costs for them to do it, why they would need to do it this way, what value it would have, and why there, why only there. How is that going to reach the rest of the, this is for the global reset. How is this one incident Maui going to set the rest of the world on a global reset? I don't know if this was a scenario for climate control, everything else. I mean, yeah, all these incidences do lay lay out reasons for propaganda, but to say that this is the specific reason they did it for, absolutely they did this because of this, and they're looking to harm us. I don't know. To me, sometimes we reach a little further. If it is to drive people out, they could have they could have done other means. But if this is a good means, if they want to drive people out, but we'll see, Darren, as we see if people get paid out to leave or if they get insurance coverage or whatever to be able to rebuild. Then we'll know that that wasn't the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's very easy. However, they do say they have like a 10-year rebuilding type of clause because they have high regulations.
Hey, it's good to look at everything. Like
So
you're
it would
doing.
almost be like if you got to wait 10 years to have your house rebuilt, you may take the payout or whatever and go elsewhere. So, we'll see how people react to this. But there's one that I do want to address. You have any more to address, Darren?
As far as what?
Now we could go into some of the theories. You think that the directed energy weapon could hit. Now, we have seen pictures of beams coming from Maui. Now, first of all, we're not sure if some of these are Maui. Second of all, because, people do the bait and switch. Oh, look at these pictures. We have proof. And then you find out it was from an island out in the Middle East or something. Because they often do the bait and switch thing where they link an old picture to something that's new. There are pictures of some kind of beams going up or whatever, but they are old pictures. When people do have these showing the fires, a lot of them are fabricated. So you can't go by the pictures. There's no eyewitness pictures that I know of capturing a blue beam DEW. It's all speculation at this point based on what we suspect they're capable of doing and the nature of what these things could do if they hit. Now, do they have to have an ionosphere to hit or does that what happens there?
As far as it doesn't really bounce off the ionosphere if that actually exists or not, by the way. But if it did, I don't think it needs it because it's supposedly from an airplane. The nose of it, they have the device stationed on the nose of these large crafts, and then from there it would just be zapping their target on the ground.
Yeah.
So,
and you say there's people that say they saw flashes?
Absolutely. There's credible eyewitness accounts of people describing the exact same thing.
Right. When we say credible, can we name them? I mean, you might not have them handy, but we say credible a lot of times. We throw that word out to try to get our work with credentials. And then we go back and we find out that the witnesses that were supposedly given testimony, either nobody knows the names of these people or they find out that they are, there's nobody that gave the testimonies. And, so when we say there's absolute credible witnesses, we have to have names and we have to see their reports before we can make those claims. So do we have names and reports that we can narrow down that we can look into these people?
The reason why I say credible is because, number one, it was not from mainstream news.
Right.
Number two, they were not a government. Well, they were not from mainstream news. They were not a government official. Number three, they were actually local native people living there.
Okay.
Number four, they were not acting, because I can tell when somebody's acting. So that's why I said
Did you
credible.
see that? Did you see the interviews?
I watched the videos. There were several different videos from people. Yes.
All right. Can we track those videos eventually and see if we can find out if these people actually have addresses there and all this other stuff?
I could try to do that.
That's what we have to do in these modern days, because I've seen things where they go tracking people down. I've looked at names of people that did not come up on any reports in those areas that they say they were born in or lived in. So we if they have videos of these and they look credible, we have to be careful because a lot of actors look credible when they do acting too. We have to make
Right.
sure we can name them and that we can find them. And then we have to make sure that their testimonies are clear, because anybody
Right.
can come up with videos. I can make a video right now in my back room, come up with a bunch of witnesses, show some palm trees and say, we were in Maui and we saw these things happening. And then nobody can ever have to trace back my actors that I got in the film that I got. I can even make it look like a news film.
Right. Right, that makes sense what you're saying. But right here, if people go to BitChute.com, type in Hawaiian Girl speaks about Maui fires and situation, August 2023, and listen to her testimony.
All right. So one thing we do have suspicion of, and this is in the reports. Let's first of all talk about this. So the other claim is that they're doing these fires intentionally, the DEWs. I do have a report that they're doing it to try to turn the island into one of the 15-minute cities. That's what they're saying. The 15-minute cities, which is like the smart cities.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, that'd be the heck of a place to have one. That sounds like a pretty good time in my estimation. But
yeah, but that's what they're trying to. That's what the it was even. See, mainstream media is actually having to report the spinning the conspiracy theories. You know how usually they leave it alone. They're all over mainstream news trying to debunk the conspiracy theories.
Right. That actually gives it some advertisement, though, which is kind of good.
It
works
does,
against them.
and it also says that they're taking it seriously enough to have to address it these days.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that it's climate lockdowns that turn it into 15-minute cities, and they rate it as false because they said, why would they do this? No official has said any red flags. Of course, you're not going to get officials admitting this. I mean, you can't go by that either.
Right.
But they said the concept is old renewable energy plan. It's not even anything current. Why would they go to some, archaic means to do this? And you got to kind of consider that too. If it was part of the energy weapons to turn it into a smart city, they don't even have the grid to do this yet. I mean, you have to have a lot of things in place.
There's another thing. The Simpsons had an episode on this.
Did they?
Symptoms predict. I'd like to share the screen, but I won't. But let me turn the camera on just so people can see it.
Well, you could share. Yeah, all right.
All right, let me do that real quick. The Simpsons predict the Maui attack. Why blue umbrellas? And then they show.
Wow. Was that on the Simpsons?
Yeah. This was on one of the episodes in the Simpsons in the past. Yeah, so it's how they predict everything, just 9/11 and just countless things. So, yep. Wow. Oh yeah, and another thing is a DEW. They actually show a beam coming down from the sky, incinerating things too. Let me see if I can find that one.
Who does?
Simpsons.
Oh, this is.
Yep.
Well, of course, because it's been in the news for decades now.
There it is.
Yep. So of course I don't know. They tend to be the source to try to bring these weird conspiracies about.
Yeah, but still, we see they're coming to fruition, so they're not conspiracy theories; they're facts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they sort of use them to kind of to be the source to bring these about.
All right. They'll put CNN out of business. Just watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly. Probably more credible.
Nobody watches CNN anymore. I'm glad. Just it's so pathetic. Yeah.
All right. One thing I wanted to get out. The one thing that I do bring attention to, if I was going to say something suspicious, the Maui Police Department Chief John Pelletier was sworn in Hawaii, in Maui, recently, or actually a couple years ago. But he's the first non-Hawaiian to be the police chief department officer, to lead the department in Maui.
Mm.
Now, what's so suspicious about that?
Well, it seems like they're removing the natives, the indigenous Hawaiian people, is bit by bit, either by burning them up or stealing their kids.
Well, it could be.
Yeah.
But the one thing that brings red flags to this guy is he was also a veteran of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and was associated with the police department during a Las Vegas shooting.
I remember reading about that, yes.
So there's like some connections here with crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And we were suspicious of that. You know, we had people on telling us about ballistics and how they said it wasn't just one weapon. It wasn't just simultaneously. They said there was at least 2 or 3 weapons being fired at the same time, which couldn't have been done by one person. And I know of people in the building that said the layout did not allow bullets to go around the building where people were getting shot at. So I don't know why the police can't report that, why people in the building that are in there know that. These are veterans, these are military officers that reported this to me, that they said where the shooting was, there are walls behind, there's buildings in front of. And there was chaos all over the place. And there was no way this guy got up there with 400 pounds of weapons. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot.
You would never see that on CNN.
No,
never.
So somebody, are we saying that this guy Pelletier orchestrated this? No, I don't think it's a one person. I don't think he lit the lighter, Darren. I don't think he was the one, or I don't think he was the one that directed the DEW to hit in spots. I don't think it was like that. But sometimes, who knows if these people are tied in with people that help prod the narratives in such a way that either they hide information or they yield to it or they're privy to it. The fact that he was in 2 crises so far, it's just suspicious that these people end up at the same places.
Is it a coincidence?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a suspicious, if anything. So, we do have reason to question certain things. Those are legitimate questions. The other things, we have only speculation, so we have to be careful. Maybe we'll look into those witnesses and see if their names do come up. Because I've done that before. I've looked in searches and found if the names were legit of the people that claimed to be witnesses. Because unlike you, I do have a high cynicism towards things I see on BitChute and other places before analyzing them to find out whether, I can't just go by, they looked credible. I can't do that. So I have to go further. So sorry about that for people if they don't think I have faith in other people. But we'll see. We'll see if we come up with anything.
But when you look at this from a macro perspective, you got to say there's something seriously fishy about this Maui incident.
Yeah, I mean, there's things to be suspicious about.
I mean, it's so fishy and phony. It's fun. It's sad, So you have to admit that the little details, that's trivial in my estimation.
Yeah.
When this is pure, downright theft and murder, in my estimation, the facts are saying it. So inescapable facts. I know you like to get to the details, and that's good, but
all right.
Right.
So you got anything else to add before we close?
I think that is about it. And like I said, I just got pictures of all colors being incinerated except for the blue. Anyway.
All right. Send me the pictures, and we will we'll post this. All right. So anybody that wants to see it, look for it on, where am I going to post it? I got an Instagram account. I can do it there. I don't use it much. And I can post it on the website. So jimdukeperspective.com, I can put it in the show notes so you can see it there. All right. So anybody wants to follow us, we are on every app, Jim Duke Perspective, and give us a like, give us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, and you can listen to us on Spotify, iHeart, any place. So please spread this information out. And if you'd like to support us, you can go to our Patreon page, and there you can have a subscription membership, or you can give a one-time support at my website at the sidebar under PayPal. All right, and we'll see you next time. God bless.